Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Well, Donald Trump is in the news today. He's actually in the news every day, but this has been some interesting stuff. Over the last few days, he said some pretty wild things. You'll remember last week he said something about beating Barack Obama in an election and crooked Hillary, and Biden was going to lead us. It's going to cause nuclear war with Russia and lead us all to World War II. Okay. And Biden's the one with cognitive decline, right? Well, never one to not double down on things. He was talking about how he was talking about beating Jeb Bush in the primary. He's down, and then all of a sudden, he's up by 50 points over Jeb, and he was embarrassed about his last name, so he started going by Jeb Bush, and he goes, he's the one that got us into the war in the Middle East. That's George W. Bush, not Jeb Bush. They're a slugger, and you didn't run against George W. Bush, and Jeb Bush was only in a primary. And then, because it just doesn't stop, he's the gift that keeps giving. In a speech he was rambling on today, trying to make a connection between the Biden administration. Okay, he gets all his facts wrong, but he mashed them together. NOAA wants to extend a time period when they reduce the speed limit of boats along the eastern seaboard. And there have been some whales washing up on shore on the eastern seaboard. And there are environmental groups who are concerned that companies that are looking to put windmills out in the ocean, they're using sonar to map the ocean floor, and the sonar is the same frequency that whales use to communicate. So Trump goes on this rant where he says that the Bush administration is trying to bludgeon the boating in the maritime industry by putting in a speed limit of 11 miles an hour, like a slow golf cart along the coast. Okay, first off, it's not the Bush administration doing it, it's NOAA suggesting it. Then he said, and the reason why they want to do that is because boats are causing whale strikes. And he's saying, there's only been like one whale death in the last 50 years due to boats. Okay. That's also patently not true. There have been dozens of deaths of whales over the last few years by boats. Hundreds of deaths over like the last 10 years, and dozens like a dozen by boats. So that's not a fact either. He then goes on to say that it's the windmills driving the whales batty, which is causing all these whale deaths. Okay, it's not the windmills that are doing it. It's the sonar they're using to map. And there's no proof that the sonar is doing it. That's just the supposition. So, so what do you get? Trump just mashes them all together. The Bush administration, the Biden administration is trying to destroy the boating industry by putting on a speed limit to save whales that aren't being killed by boats, but are being killed by windmills. You got it all wrong. And this is, again, Trump just having hatred towards windmills because they put windmills off the coastline from his Scottish golf course. He didn't want them there, and they did it anyways. So he's been a bitter old man about that ever since. And when I first read the headlines, I was thinking, okay, windmills cause a lot of bird deaths. Is he mixing up whales and birds? Because that's kind of an odd thing to mix up. But no, it's allegedly the sonar. We can't even, again, that's not even proven. So 4 minutes in, shall we look at Trump's cognitive? Is he truly in cognitive decline, or is he faking it? Okay, that's kind of the crux of this reading. But let's just read on old Donnie Boy in general. Typically, when I do readings on him, the Page of Pentacles comes up because of election interference, and everything that he does is just his fear-based response to these election interference charges. So come on down. Let's see. Entertainment purposes only. What is going on in the mind of Donald Trump? Yikes. Page of Cups. Well, there's your whale in a cup. Yeah, he's he's coming up with wackadoodle statements. Again, whether he beat Obama, Biden's going to lead us into World War II. Jeb Bush got us into the war in Iraq. I mean, honest to God, if any candidate was this wrong with basic facts like that, nobody would ever vote for him. If his name wasn't Donald Trump. Okay, so yeah, he's loopy. Oh, I don't think he's faking it. I think he's having a rather severe decline of his grasp of reality. It's like the pressures he's on is so severe, it's addling his brain. And, funny I use the term addle because it kind of rhymes with Adderall. You know what I mean? What's underneath it? The Ace of Wands. He is trying to project, that power, that authority, that force that he had in 2015, 2016, where he could just criticize anything and people just ate it up. But now, because his brain's addled, he sounds like a doddering old fool, which he's been the whole time. But before he can at least mostly get the story straight. Now he can't get the story straight anymore, and it's starting to be his undoing. In the past, we have the Hermit. Interesting. I think, normally I use the Hermit card as exposing people, but I think the low energy version of the Hermit is retreating, moving away from the light, like back into your cave. So it's like he has been slow over time. His mental faculties have been slowly regressing as he moves backwards and backwards and backwards back into the shell of his mind, as it were. So I'm peeking at the monitor here to make sure the cards are centered here. The current situation is the Queen of Wands. He tends to like to surround himself with women. This would be like your Kellyanne Conways. I don't know if he has a Kellyanne Conway type person right now. He needs somebody like that to keep him on track and on message. This could also be somebody in his life that might start pointing him towards getting some help of some sort. I'm not sure who the Queen of Wands here is yet. I mean, it could be any one of a number of female judges too, right? Overarching is the Victory card. E. Jean Carroll was coming to mind. Why would E. Jean Carroll come up in this reading? And the reason why I come up with E. Jean Carroll is Victory. This could just be women in general. Again, we've heard many intuitives, Linda G. and others, who have talked about women bringing Trump down. And I think that's what they're saying with this one, is that we're in the summertime and the women of authority have started the process that's causing him to lose his mental faculties and bring him down. And women are celebrating their victory over this. As the age of Donald Trump closes down, women are celebrating. Yeah, it's the end of a cycle. That, the person who can go out and lie and tell falsehoods, this is now bringing him down. Women are now empowered. Women are now celebrating, and it's bringing an end. 3 women cards here, 3 female cards here. And the outcome is the 3 of Pentacles. And again, drawn to the fact that it's going dark. I think he's going to continue to retreat in... He might start getting guidance to start talking less. Because he's mangling things. I know his lawyers want him to go dark because every time he opens his mouth, he causes them more headaches. Because he confesses to more and more stuff. There might be some discussions. I don't know if this is the Republican Party. I don't know if it's the DOJ. There's discussions. I think there's discussions what to do with Donald Trump. And his perceived mental faculties. Now, where this could be, the Department of Justice talking with his lawyers about stuff that's going on. That'll be an interesting card to see happen here. So far, I'm not seeing anything that would indicate to me that he's faking it. You can imagine if you're watching somebody lose control of reality, their lawyers really can't do a whole lot to guide their client. And, make them a ward of the state? I don't know what you do. Okay, so what I guess all we're seeing with Trump right now is just we're seeing a cognitive decline. And we're seeing the victory of empowered women over him. It's kind of like, his reward for the toxic masculinity that he has brought to women over the years is that now women will be ruling over him for a change. Okay. Is he faking it? Is this real? Tell me what the state of his mental faculties is. What is the state of Donald Trump's mental faculties? Is he faking it? Or is this real? Is it both? What is the actual state of his mental faculties? There's that women celebrating again. Wheel of Fortune. It's karma. We already had the end card as the overarching energy, so he's in the process. Huge burden. Nightmare. Oh God, not great cards. Women celebrating the downfall of the King of Pentacles. He's got too much. He can't bear the load anymore. And he's done this to himself. And it's causing a lot of anxiety. So stress and anxiety that he's done to himself are causing, he's done this to himself. Again, it's showing the victory of women. Celebrate, an emotional victory of women over Donald Trump. Again, nothing in here shows me that he would be faking it or that he's being clever or anything along those lines. So again, I think it's real. To be honest, I think it's real. He's lost it. He doesn't have that edge anymore. Okay. Will Donald Trump be committed to a mental health facility of some sort? A hospital or some facility due to I kind of want to ask about the Adderall. I'll do a little forecast. Is Donald Trump's current mental condition a result of the abuse of Adderall? And this is really for entertainment purposes only, or withdrawals from not being able to get Adderall? Because remember, he would take Adderall before going on to do speeches to help with his anxiety. And if he doesn't have it, you can imagine that even if it made no difference, he wouldn't have the confidence. Is this an Adderall related thing? He's tied to it. Ace of Swords. That. Ooh, a couple of aces. Oh, wow. He may not be able to get it. This is something, this is detoxification. This is purification underneath it all. And this is being tied to something. This is like, again, drug addiction. You've voluntarily tied yourself to these drugs. He can undo it by going to therapy or going to programs to detoxify. And it might be that he's being forced to detoxify because now he's a felon, well, actually his company's a felon, but he's been charged with felonies. So you can't get busted with drugs. You don't want to be like, oh, Hunter Biden. No, Hunter Biden is drug. Oh, yeah, and Trump tried to buy a gun. And there's all sorts of state laws that prevent you from buying a gun if you've been indicted on felonies. They post up on Twitter or Truth Social that he was gonna do this, and then some wiser Democrats say, "You sure you want to do that? Because that's a felony, you know." And then his team's like, "Oh no, he wasn't going to do that." Yeah, of course he did. It was a handgun with his picture on the grip. Okay, so this is him being, addicted to those drugs, and wanting his dealer, wanting to talk to his dealer. I just need a little hit. Here, sniff this flower. Oh, poppies. Here we go with a Dorothy reference from The Wizard of Oz. But the reality is that the law won't allow for this, so strong action had to be taken. I think they're making him quit quit his addictions. He can eat his hamburgers all he wants, but he may not be getting the stuff that he wants to help him get that psychological edge that he needs for entertainment purposes only. I'm not the one who's brought up accusations of Adderall abuse. That's people who worked with him have talked about it openly. And it's multiple sources, not just one. And they're not all Democrats, I don't suspect. Okay, what was my next question going to be? Oh, yes, will he end up in a mental health facility at some point? So this whole cognitive decline thing might be just withdrawals. This could be withdrawals. Wouldn't that be interesting? Okay. This is a horrible shuffling job, but this card wants to stay on top, so we'll do it. Will they go to a mental health facility? The Empress. The Empress is like, pregnant with possibilities, but this is making sure everybody has enough of everything. So this person would be like, taking care of all your needs. So if you have mental health issues, this would be a great nurse card. That and the Queen of Pentacles would be great nursing cards. So far, I'm saying yes. Let's see. Got the Three of Wands, planning on it. Page of Swords, Two of Swords, and Victory. Or Look at Me cards. How funny. He might view it as a victory that he gets to go to a mental health hospital because he's not in prison. I think that's kind of how he would look at it. But actually, if you think about it, this isn't him. Okay, wait, this isn't him. This is us. Now think about that for a second. Us in our most vindictive moments would love to see him, in cell block D and let Bubba and company, take care of business for us, right? But we also know the reality is that's not going to happen. He's not going to cell block D. He's not going to any prison where, he could spill secrets, or they're not going to put an ex-president in prison. They're just not going to do it. Not the general population anyways. Now, whether it's some other prison, a military prison, or I think we've had some fun musing him going to Guantanamo Bay. That would be very amusing. But if you think about it, going to a hospital, like a military hospital or something like that, he's still restricted. He's getting medical care. He's getting psychological care. They'll probably take his phones away from him because why would you let him have those things? He doesn't need those things. He doesn't need to be on social media. He needs to get help. And then, he's not a martyr for his followers. He's in a mental health facility, which is a stronger message to his followers. Okay, so we've got the Empress here in the Page of Swords. It could very well be that, swords are about intellect, and, a page is a young person, like in this case, it's a young woman, But think of him, his mental health is declining, and he's getting younger and younger in his ability to process and do things. This could also be this could just be family members or something like that pleading for him to get mental health as opposed to incarceration. But you got the Three of Wands. To me, Four of Wands are the bars. Three of Wands, he's most of the way there at this point. And a decision needs to be made. What are we going to do with this guy? If he's not mentally capable of handling a trial. And this might also be that if he's in trial, he's showing the world how much of a decline his mental faculties have gone through. With, again, ranting about whales and windmills, and he has a difficult time completing a coherent thought. He often just tosses together a word salad, and then if he says something right, his audience cheers. That whole thing about running against Obama and World War II and all that stuff, the audience is sitting there, and then he said something about, oh yeah, and I named Cricket Hillary, and then they all cheered because he finally got something right that they could celebrate. It's like watching your home basketball team just continually clanking things off the rim and not making a shot, and then finally, after missing 10 shots in a row, they make one to the delight of the crowd. This victory, I think, is for us. That the best thing that can happen for Donald Trump is that he gets medical care and that he becomes a ward of the state. There you go. It's like a ward of the state card. And they put him in a mental health hospital, because then it resolves a lot of problems about incarceration and such things as that. Of course, that also means if he doesn't flee first, right? That's an interesting thought to look at that. Now, as the mental health hospital suggestion comes up, does he start talking about running? He has a decision to make. Does he stay or does he go? But in the end of the day, I think he's going to end up in a facility. Probably not prison, unless it's a prison hospital. Probably not prison. I guess it would be a military hospital. That would seem to be the most likely place that you could put somebody like him, because it would be a secured facility. Agents wouldn't have access to him because you have to go through an entire military facility to get to him. Okay, well, I'm not saying every time you mess up a story about whales and windmills and all that stuff that you should be committed to a military hospital, but that might be his fate. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all your likes. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. Thank you for all your likes, shares, and comments to help boost my channel and feed the YouTube algorithm so that my video makes it out to new viewers. And to those new viewers, welcome to my channel. You got a 24-minute flavor of what my typical readings are like, and my asides and my musings that go along with it. I hope you subscribe and watch more of my videos, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.